I, That's all I gotta do. Like, I need a fan and I need hearing aid batteries. And one of my videos had sound deleted, and all the UW dialecticals were mocking me, saying you read lips. I couldn't see the dude's lips. So we know that the C in the Star of David they put on comes from a supported moral elite of some sort. This stuff is Bonkerbait. Reduce the corona. I'll try to show you pinpoint the Arnie Saknussums at work because it does have a preponderance of symbolism that fits together with great consistency. And the preponderance of the same system of ideas over and over again allows me to question whether these Arnie Sagnussums are intended. One thing I've talked a lot about my childhood, but there's something very important that I very rarely touch on, which was a dude named James, who was black, who never touched me, but who inflicted the most cold blooded terror on me. He definitely had odds to kill me. And I may I may be accused of reading into that. He never hurt me. I don't want you to say that he ever hurt me. He stole $1 from me once in an alley by Ostras. He pulled up in a car and demanded $1 from me. And he told me to take off my glasses like Oliver Stone's Salvador once in the park. But I'll rehearse some details that are important because the rabbit mongered this system to say there was an attempt on Reagan's life. And by being the uh, sock puppet, they call me, in Lennon's murder, they claim, I am trying to hustle an alibi for myself by aiding and abetting the attempt on Reagan's life. It ain't none of that. His attorneys have me there and they're liars. See the difference? So I want to go. What they are doing is an artificial intelligence fidelity gig post Two Virgins COVID bomb. I'm in TC, Tacoma community. When I was a child, the person who gave me T acid, like Tacid, DTCIA, was named TC Tony Cervi, CERVI. He took me to a James Bond movie, and a black fella jumped out and said, I'm James Bond. They had been showing Nigga Charlie previews. And this kid said, oh, I'm Nigga Charlie. I thought it was cruel. He had a very cruel mind. But now I'm suspicious that it was a plant. That James Bond was jumping out of the planned future. Because what we see in this decotery isn't just James Bond and the KC tore my head off, James Callister. James Bondage from Her Majesty's Secret Service. We see that Beatles Paul McCartney is now selling a black James Bond, the license to kill. While he hustles his Brexit decision to invade Donbass, which they prepared the ground for by advising me. So what we're seeing is that the Two Virgins pussy ball Louis adultery that the Green Party set up in Pittsburgh continues to defame on behalf of Flame Over Africa. So we're dealing with Osmo, Osmo, Osmosis. I mean, Mosley. We're dealing with the frank assassination team set up by the Houdinis and Beatlemania who murdered the Kennedys. What they're trying to do is use anti-racism for the celebrity superstate while they get rid of international law. No ICC stuff. None of that queerball stuff. And they say by justifying yourself, you are proving your own position. And so they have an alternative road, which is to turn everything over to them. Well, as it turns out, they're violating international law. And I did not. And I'm not trying to prove any position by justifying my investigation of what happened. It's just that it's unattractive to sleep with a man who's lived as though he was 007. Sleeping with too many girls makes me unattractive. So don't buy into this moral elite stuff because they're just playing a con game. That's all it is, just a con game. And they have Biden has Wally Whoop lined up to say that's not true. I picked one with these buzzards simply by presenting the evidence. You know, they had jumped out of the bushes at me, jumped out of the hedges, you know. Lloyd Benson, the hedges and the bush. And I mean, when you look at the way they stack this, McGovern says, well, Agnew resigned. You think he'd look into his vice presidential candidate better so that Eagleton would have a double entendre in what he was saying. If you look into the storyline, those words come back and bite McGovern on the bum. Well, McGovern was in on this scam. He was McGovern McCartney, and this is a two-sided situation. And they make it look like you choose between the two sides. Well, you can't choose between two sides because they are together on this one. See? Lennon, and that's what's the consistent part. It's not just T. Acid and TC, and I'm James Bond. They got another thing coming if Black James Bond is going to swing down out of the Georgia the jungle tree at Jimmy Curry this late in life. Make me eat my words the way they go boys in my mouth for their COVID, Luca. It ain't happened. What's going to happen instead is I'm going to testify that John Lennon pulled a Houdini because that's what the evidence is. And there was no attempt on that Reagan. That was all Hollywood. You look at where Leslie Katz took me, and there was a dude named Bad who had all these wounds. He used to have his shirt off, and you'd see these. He said it's from a surgery he had, but you'd see these Slipperman wounds. And these people are resourceful savages. And what we need to do is temper their enthusiasm for getting away with it. That's what I'm trying to do. Temper their enthusiasm for assuming that they can just pull one of these things. And everybody's going to be jumping up and down, doing like this here and that there, and saying, we holler for the Black James Bond. That's our answer. That's our Messiah. It's just Hollywood pulling their sneak. And all this job that they pulled on me was a sneak preview of what they mean for anybody whom they think doesn't deserve to be around. Yeah. And I'm on the side of the people who think that we need international law. EU, Claire Daly, people who are normal. And to hell with these Reagan people.